Did you see the movie?
I did. I did. Did you?
Yes. Did you think of Min Hee-jin the whole time?
Couldn't help myself.
Let's get into this. So, K-pop Demon Hunter is about a trio of friends who are K-pop idols called Huntrix, while simultaneously are demon hunters. For thousands of years, demons have tried stealing the souls of humans, and the only ones who can stop them are these song maidens. And over the years, the position gets handed over to the next group of girls, who are now our main characters, Zoe, Mira, and Rumi. Rumi is actually born into this role, as her mother was one of the previous demon hunters. But with her mother's passing, she was raised by Celine, who was her mother's friend and fellow demon hunter. Their goal in this movie is to completely close the gate to the demon world, and they will know it is complete when the gate turns gold. And they are almost there, but our twist here is Rumi is actually half demon. Her mother was a demon hunter, but her father, it turns out, was a demon. The way to identify a demon is by these markings on their skin, and Rumi is keeping this a secret from her friends by covering them up. She's promised by Celine that if she can close the portal for good, then her markings will also go away and she can be free. But another problem arises when Rumi begins to lose her voice. Desperate for a solution, since the singing awards are coming up, they go out for a remedy where they run into our evil cutie patooties, the Saja Boys, aka our demon boy group. We got our main boy, Jinu, and his backup boys, Abs, Romance, Mystery, and Baby. Their their goal is to use music to bring down our girls' spirit, their ratings, and break down the portal by stealing the hearts and souls of humans and feeding them to the Demon King, Gui Ma. All right, so let's talk about our girls. Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. Who was your favorite?
I really liked Zoe. I thought she was really cute and relatable. A little ditzy, but very, very loving and caring. Kind of like a pocket-sized person, I guess.
She's definitely the friend that I think everybody needs. Very positive
I,
and encouraging.
yeah, she is positive. She's kind of like sunshine, I guess. I don't know. She's just cutesy, but without being dumb. I like her. She's
Yeah,
my
you're
favorite.
right. She was cutesy without being dumb. I liked her. I mean,
Yeah.
she had that airhead quality, but that doesn't mean she's stupid. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I appreciated that about her, that a character can be super feminine and silly and cutesy without it, meaning you don't have brain cells, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And we got Mira, who is our rebel
Mhm.
character. I liked her a lot. I also want to give a shout out to Mira's voice actor. I loved her deep voice.
Her voice was pretty cool. She's looked and sounded like a badass.
Yes. And
And
then
she's blunt, but she's not mean.
yeah, yeah, she's a good friend while also being honest and blunt.
I was thinking, though, what you said about Zoe, about Mira, I was thinking she's the friend that I think everybody needs.
The thing is, with all of these girls, they have such different personalities that are not one-dimensional like typical characters these days. We got our ditzy girl who's not an idiot. We got our blunt girl who's also very nice, who doesn't have
Right,
a kind
right.
heart at the same time. Like her kind heart is there throughout the whole thing. She's just blunt through it all too.
Exactly. She cares about their feelings. She just tells the truth.
Yeah. I didn't think about that before, but it is really a nice balance that you don't see very often in shows.
Yeah, I thought they did the characters really, really well, especially those two.
Rumi, we get more time with her and her insecurities and her
Mhm.
inner thoughts, so we just kind of have to
Yeah,
go based off the little that they give us with Myra and I mean Mira and Zoe. But I mean it's enough. It's just Rumi is the more complex main character with hidden issues.
right. And the most screen time and internal struggles.
Yeah, they all have their own struggles, but they're kind of already out in the open.
I did like with Rumi that while obviously there were difficulties in the movie, she never gave the vibe of, oh, I'm the center vocalist. I'm better than the two of you. I was kind of worried it would go there because I feel like that's so overdone. but it didn't go there. She didn't have a massive ego, even though she was the center vocalist. They worked really well together as a team. She didn't put the others down.
Yeah, no, it was like perfect teamwork. You're right. It
Mhm.
didn't do the typical tropes that artists typically do with these kind of characters.
Right. So I think that's one of the reasons why I did like it so much is because it was not what I was expecting, but in a good way.
I liked them all so much. There wasn't a character I didn't like, between the girls, I mean,
Mhm.
or a moment
Right.
I was annoyed with them either.
Same.
Let's talk songs because that's a pretty big thing with this. What did you think
Hmm.
of the music?
I liked it. There were some that felt kind of forced. I didn't like the parts that felt more musical, where they're singing out of nowhere. I'm just not a, that's just me personally. I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I liked it. What did you think?
They get stuck in my head. I mean, that soda pop is always in my head now. Although
Soda
all I know
pop.
is the You're My Soda Pop, little soda pop.
Yeah.
That's all I know of that song. That part is catchy, but I haven't ventured off to like listen to that one a lot. I like the Golden. I didn't care for it as much while watching the movie, but before talking with you about this, I kind of like did like a little freshen up on the songs. And I liked Golden a lot more listening to it without watching the movie. And
Mhm.
I like the K-pop boy, their evil song Idol. I liked that one a lot.
Oh yeah. That one was better than soda pop.
Yes, that one was really catchy. I liked the song between Rumi and Junu also, but unfortunately, like I
Hmm.
didn't like the last song, the freeing song that I think should have been, if it's like your last song and like the uplifting song, I think those are the ones that should outshine the rest. And I felt like compared to all the other songs, it really faded into the background for me. Even re-listening to it,
Yeah.
it was kind of like, I mean, this sounds nice, but it doesn't catch like the other ones do, in my opinion.
That makes perfect sense. You're right, because I don't even remember it. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
not good.
I was pleasantly surprised by how deep the story went. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting any romance in this story, and I was actually happy to have a little bit of it because not that it would have been a letdown to not have any romance, but it was just kind of nice to see something sweet come from these two characters. I I loved the friendship. I loved the weapons. I really liked the movements that the girls did while fighting. I thought the choreography of not just the dancing, but the fighting was really well done.
I really, really loved the color scheme, the color palettes they chose, and the with the costumes, their outfits, their clothes, their hair, even the color of like the city light. I loved everything about that. It was very visually pleasing. I even paused it on a few spots just so I could like take notes for like the colors and I that's just the artist and fashion person in me. That aside, I did really, really, really love their friendship. I was bracing myself to be a little annoyed at there being like juvenile girl friendship headbutting, like fighting over a boy, or you think you're better than us, or you know what I mean? Like that typical stuff that happens in female friendship. But
Yeah.
I was really happy that that wasn't in that at all. It was a lot more higher stakes. And their friendship, while there were a few bumps, it wasn't anything that made you like roll your eyes. Their friendship was pretty strong. Even when they were upset at each other, they still had each other's back. I did like some of the supernatural creatures. They made me very, very happy. Every single time one of them appeared, I'd giggle. Like, I don't know, it's just the little things to me. Like, while I love the whole story and the plot and everything, those little things really tied it all together for me nicely.
I really liked it though. I loved the animation. Their faces and their facial expressions were so funny to me at times too. Maybe some could think it's overdone a little bit, but it always felt like a good time, even when it was more serious and dark.
Right.
I
No,
thought
that makes sense.
yeah, I thought the comedic timing was great. Like when you compare what Disney kind of became with Marvel, it's almost like we have to constantly be funny, make a funny joke, make a funny joke, make a funny joke. And it came to a point like with Marvel, you just get so tired of it. And it's like, all right, can we be a little bit serious now? People are dying. Why are we cracking jokes right now? But I thought with
Right.
this, like the comedic timing was so good and it had very subtle little things that made you laugh too. Just there's that moment where she goes to the doctors to get her throat remedies. And my husband got this before I did, where they find the K-pop idol group and he's drinking one of them. And she looks into the box and she's like, "Wait a minute." And she's counting it. It had really good, funny moments, but it just had hit those little things. There was a time where they're in the sauna and the bad boys are winning, but then Janu like slips on water. It's like they don't force it down your throat. It's like, here's a joke, you laugh at it if you want. Here's these little slip up funny moments. It wasn't like
Mhm.
we're trying to make you laugh. It's just it was naturally funny.
Yeah, it had really, really good comedic timing and it wasn't too much. It was just right.
And then when things were serious, they were serious. And I feel like we don't see that enough anymore. Like correct timing with things, as we always say, like time and place. I thought they really
Yeah,
did such a good job with it.
it was
And it
enjoyable.
wasn't
I liked it.
cringy. Like, I never know with girl, as you say, like the girl boss things, it didn't have that. It was all very, very balanced.
It was, and I liked that they let them be themselves. They let them be feminine.
Story-wise, it was very refreshing. I hope to
I
see
liked it.
more like this.
Me too. No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yes, I would watch again. What would you rate this?
Out of how many stars?
5 stars.
5 stars? I say four because I'm aware of like what it is, and it was made for like younger kids and everything. It's not like it was made for somebody my age. I just happen to like it. So all of the things about it that I didn't like, I'm aware that it's because I wasn't the main target demographic, I suppose. Maybe I'm being too lenient. I don't know, but I say 4 out of 5.
I was thinking 5, but now that you mention that, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. Because even though, like you said, we're not the demographic, I do think kids can keep up with that stuff. I think old Disney has proved that you can do dark themes. So I'll
Yeah.
give it a 4 because I think they could have done that and made this a complete 5 star had they done that.
I will say if it's a movie that is mainly targeted towards a younger audience, I did appreciate that there wasn't anything lewd in it. Their outfits were cute,
Hmm.
but appropriate, right? Like
Yeah.
I know they had mini skirts or mini shorts or whatever. That's fine. I don't care about that. But like if I wouldn't feel weird showing the movie to like a young girl. It wouldn't make me like, oh, but there's this scene in it, or oh, but they're dressed kind of like, oh, she might be too young for that. Like, you don't have to worry about those kinds of thoughts with this. I appreciate that, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, that was actually something I was thinking of. Thank you for saying it. I was gonna say this is, I would say, husband approved and child approved. Like this is something
Yes.
I would, if I had girls, I would be okay with showing my girls. Like this is something from when I
Mhm.
was younger, I would have loved this. And
Yes.
it
Yeah.
it brought back a lot of what I loved when I was younger. Sailor Moon, the Totally Spies.
Mhm.
It was all of that.
Yeah, I think they did it really, really well because they didn't dull down the femininity.
Hmm.
They just made it appropriate, age appropriate. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah. All right, we're about to get into spoiler territory. So if you don't want to hear that, I would skip. You've been warned. Okay.
Shoot. The movie was very, like, incredibly fast paced.
Hmm.
It didn't go into lore very much. It was very, this thing is happening now, this thing is happening now, this thing is happening, and
Yeah.
there's not a lot of time to digest anything. But from what I gathered is she's from a line.
Okay, so I'm glad I'm not the only one that didn't understand that part. So I was like, they've been doing this for thousands of years. How come the barrier hasn't been completed yet?
Right. Yeah, I just took it as it's like a temporary thing that's their job to keep the people as safe as possible, but actually getting rid of that like fire demon lord hasn't been done, and she wants to do that. So, yeah, basically.
I think it probably would have been a little bit better without that because in the end, you can't stop demons. Like they're always going to be a part of the earth. There's no stopping them. So maybe, in
Hmm.
my opinion, it'd be better if that wasn't a thing. But I know that has to be a goal. So that was in there for her. I mean, her end goal is to complete the barrier. But yeah, I didn't
Right.
understand what really completes the barrier and where the demons come from because there is a barrier. So I'm like, where are they even coming from then?
Hmm.
So unfortunately, my
Yeah,
brain
because
does these things. I know it's a kid's movie. I know it's for kids, but I still need some ground um, rules with things.
yes, I agree. I agree. Because it almost felt like, and I will preface it by saying I really liked the movie. I enjoyed it. But it almost felt like everyone's attention span has shrunk so much that we just can't focus on
Right.
anything for more than 2 seconds. That's kind of the vibe it gave me, where it was like they were constantly having to switch scenes because if it went on too long, people's attention spans like can't hold on that long anymore. And that was a little concerning.
Yeah, I bet you they could have slowed it down and it would have done just as well, though. That's what's a little unfortunate.
I agree.
Because there were a lot of moments where I was like, I wish they would have expanded more on this. My husband and I were both talking how he wished we could have gotten more point of view from the Saja boys. He like
Yeah.
developed them, even just like a scene to see what it's like with them by themselves. What
Hmm.
are they like? Like, why is there only one good one? What do the other ones think about this whole thing? Just to get, some basic understanding of them.
Yeah, a little bit of backstory, a little bit of lore, a little bit of history.
And then there's the idea of like what makes these humanoid demons versus the weird little creature demons. How many humanoid demons are there? It was a lot of things I questioned throughout, and then mostly once it was done, I couldn't help but think of these things, especially with Rumi's dad being a demon. Was he a humanoid demon? I hope so.
Yeah. The only thing I can think is that like when you see some of the humans like start to become very negative in their self-perception and like down on themselves, it's like they were slowly turning into humanoid demons as well. So they're using their music to encourage and uplift and to like supernaturally push the negativity away that would seep into the human spirits, I guess. But that's just me guessing because they didn't explain it. So I really don't
Okay.
know,
I was like, dang, I
you know.
missed that.
But it was all so quick. It was like you blink and you miss something, you know.
Yeah, there was a moment
So
where my husband asked me a question. It was towards the beginning. I think it was either like the voices, because I told him that Twice was the girl singer, and he was like, "Well,
yeah.
there has to be a boy singer, right?" And so I was trying to look up if like a K-pop boy band was singing the songs. And in that moment, I missed like a vital piece of information, and I was like, "Wait, when did they explain that?" And he was like, "It was in the beginning. Like, how'd you miss it?" I was like, "I was looking up that thing for you." But it was
I
like,
closed my eyes for 2 seconds.
yes, and I missed whatever this piece of information was. So yeah, that's how fast it
Mhm.
is now that you're saying that. It's like, you're right. It did. It was like bam, 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 nothing really elaborate, and then it's over.
Yeah. I feel like it was just I really liked it. I just wish the pacing was slower.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't feel like there was so much in it where it needed to be that quick, unless they were just trying to appeal to a younger audience. But I feel like we don't give kids enough credit. Like, I feel like it would have been a lot better if they'd have slowed down the pacing or made it like a one season show to be
Yeah.
able to go deeper into like some of the stories and stuff because it was very interesting. It's just they didn't get into any of it.
No,
But I guess that's
exactly.
good that like you like it enough where you want to learn more about it, you want to know more about it, but they
Hmm.
just don't. So it's kind of like, oh, okay then.
I mean, I can see them making a second one of these. It felt a little left open at the end. Speaking of fast paced too, with Rumi, when she's like half demonoid and everything, and she's
Mm.
going through her mental breakdown in that moment after being tortured by her friends as demons and everything. There's that moment where she goes to the tree and she's having a really hard time. I felt bad for her, but then, she puffs away. She knows how to use her demon magic already, which was kind of weird too. Ends up at the concert and then she's better. There was no moment, I feel like, back in the day, there's a moment of like self-revelation, if that's the right word, enlightenment, where you gain your
Yeah.
confidence and you pivotal shift in the story that helps them see clearly. And that didn't happen. She was in one moment having a mental breakdown, the next she's singing a song and gaining her confidence. And it was like,
Yeah.
where did that come from? What changed your perspective all of a sudden that you're healed from your demon side?
Yeah, it was kind of like they were trying to make it like the music is what healed her, but it wasn't made clear enough where it left a lot of guessing, I
Hmm.
suppose. Too much guessing. Too much, well, I guess that's what that means. Or I suppose maybe you just kind of, oh, well, maybe that's what they meant by that. And that does bug me a little bit.
Yes, storytelling wise, like I loved it. It was a lot of what I want from shows, but I wish they
Yeah.
would elaborate more to solidify this world and the story. And it could have been so
Yeah.
much better with those little things.
I agree because well, I'm not like a,
And I have a split thought with the whole being a demon thing. And I thought it was kind of
Mhm,
weird, where I get like accepting yourself. I get those parts of the story, but this is
mhm,
literally like you're a demon. And I don't think we should, it's a little bit hard to explain, but it's like, yes, when we do quote unquote sinful things, it's bad. And it's just kind of weird to be like, there's a part of yourself that you can accept, and then there's a part of yourself that you can change. So it's kind of weird to, and also she's born that way. So it's a little bit not solid there either because she cannot control being half demon. That's her dad.
mhm.
So it's accepting who you are, who you were born into, versus someone like Jinu who did something bad and
Yeah.
could have controlled that. I also want to go over Jinu's sacrifice. This is the part that my husband really liked was his sacrifice at the end.
My husband liked that too.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
he said how it had meaning to it, where
Yeah.
it wasn't just here. I'll go to the instant love really quick. I thought this was actually done really well. It's a very real enemies to lovers kind of thing because they have to kill each other. That's their job. And they're
Mhm.
in the middle of about to try killing each other when he saw that she was a demon. And then in that moment, he decided to protect her to learn more about her. But
Yeah.
it's still his job to kill her versus her killing him.
Right.
And that never stopped. So it wasn't like what you typically see in books where they just decide to gang up together. And that was part of the plan. And then the twist right there was that he didn't go through with it, helping her, I mean. And you never really
Hmm.
see that. So in the end, he chose not to protect her the way that he said he would. But I liked seeing them come together. I thought it was very sweet, even though it was a bit instant-y. But it wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily love either. It was that Rumi was able to be herself with him the way that she couldn't be with anybody because he knew her secret. I thought that was very sweet that she found a moment to be comfortable. And that's what that was that she was able to be vulnerable with him
Yeah.
versus, books with the instant love where you can't, where you're in love with the person, but you're still hiding yourself from the person. So it was almost like a switch up with this that I liked, where it's like, this makes sense because they're enemies, but he knows her secret and she finds comfortability in that. And they have those
Hmm.
little moments of a truce until they're back on the battlefield.
Yeah. And she kind of sparks a little bit of hope in him as well, even if
Mhm.
it's really tiny.
And that's, I guess, where his sacrifice comes in. That made my husband like it so much too, was he's evil. He shouldn't come back. He is a demon. But in that moment, he was able to redeem himself. So it wasn't even just saving her for her because he loves her. It's because he acknowledged all the horrible things he's done. And this was a way to make up for that in a sense. It wasn't just strictly, I love you, I'll die for you. There was a meaning behind it besides love. And also, he liked that he didn't come back because he was like, that's what a real sacrifice is, actually dying and not coming back.
Yeah. My husband said the same thing because I was upset. I was like, what? No.
I wanted him to
I
come
wanted
back
them to
too.
be together. And he goes, no, you don't understand. Like, as a man, that meant a lot. For his sacrifice meant something.
I know I wanted him back too, so that is
I
funny.
know.
The husbands think this way while the wife's like, but I love him.
We want him to come back so that they could be together. But he's like, no, his sacrifice meant something. And he said he went out with his boots on. That's what all men want. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then he said, and also he couldn't live with the regret and shame of abandoning his
Right.
family. So in his mind, he's making amends for his mistakes. It was more than just his sacrifice. It was everything welling up in him in that moment to give
Yeah.
him the courage to protect not just her, but to help her fight. And then when he explained it to me, I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right, but still.
Yes.
Was it just me? Like, did I just see things, or did his like energy kind of temporarily go into her sword so he could help her fight?
No, no, that is what
That
happened. She got a new
Oh,
weapon.
okay.
He became her
That's right.
weapon.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was just my imagination or if that actually happened because it was so quick.
But I liked the reality of what demons are too. They're not good. That thing was just pure evil.
They get sucked in and they can't escape.
I do want more of a back on Rumi's parents though. So
Yeah, me too. What the heck was that about?
I want
Not
more, but
explaining anything.
yeah. And where was that one lady, like her caretaker all those years? Like is she just by that tree every day, all day?
I guess so. Being like, woe is me. Woe to
What
me.
is she doing over there? And yeah, I would like to know how they get chosen. What makes them chosen? At least with Rumi, like she was born into it, but where did the other two come from? What made them chosen, I guess?
Yeah, they really glossed over that. It was basically like, oh, you're not just going to be a K-pop group, you're going to be Demon Hunters. And then it was basically them just being like, okay, like they just totally accepted it without any like hesitation. And then it moves on to the next thing and it's like, can I have more context, please?
They rant and rave like podcast fairy queens. Hop and purr through the microphone. Long distance duo, never alone, never alive. Sharing their pain. Pink and blue podcast, breaking the chain.
I'm just going to throw in, and I really want their clothes, like their wardrobe.
Oh my goodness. The all those like shirts they were wearing, I commented, I was like, I want
Yes.
that shirt. Even the ones with their faces on it that the fans were wearing, I was like, I want that shirt.
Yes. Yes, they were so cute.